hey, when are you going to the gym, lady? Should you be eating that? I get that too, that people get comfortable. And I think that's really where a lot of it stems from when they fall off the wagon, you know, with their fitness routine or their diet or eating healthier, is that they're comfortable and they're like, oh, well, I can be fully myself around this person. I can come from a place of a more chilled, relaxed version of myself.
If your partner loves you no matter what you look like or whatever, you don't take advantage of that. Like, okay, well, then I can just eat Oreos and do whatever I want to do because it's that might be true, but it's disrespectful.
Woman's side, because the pregnancy thing is something that a man doesn't experience. And I feel like it is harder too, as women get older, it's harder for them to lose weight too. And, you know, there's a lot of different sort of aspects that hormones and pregnancy like put on women.
Right.
So I did want to just throw that out there. But because like you said too, there are some men that aren't attracted to their women anymore after they've had a baby, or they're like horrible and being like, well, when are you going to the gym? And she's just had a baby like 3 weeks ago. So like you said, this is not to be like, hey, when are you going to the gym, lady? Or like, should you be eating that to like your wife, you know, or your husband? Like it shouldn't go either way.
No.
Like this is more about how actually working as a team and being healthy together also helps both sides. And like you said, and that you have the respect and love for yourself and your partner to be the healthiest, best version of yourself that you can be.
Right. And that's what it should be motivated by, 100%. Right. Yeah. So let me see where to start with some of these things. So, I mean, we could start with, I think, I would say, I mean, we kind of talked a little bit about it, but like, why is this important at all, right? So we briefly touched on it, but what I could say about this is that, number one, you do want to look as good as you can. You should not let yourself go, right? Because it's the same thing. We talked about this before in the romance episodes about romance for men, romance for a woman, and we were saying that, you know, women really hate it when a guy, he's all romantic, flower, you know, doing all the stuff, take her out on dates. And then when they get into a relationship or they get committed, he's no longer doing those things. He's no longer trying to seduce her or trying to woo her.
Right.
Right. So it's the same thing with your physical appearance, keeping it up. Right. It's like you also, just like you don't want to drop the romance once you get into a relationship or stop doing the things that you did before. You also don't want to drop the physical, right? You know, you don't want to get into a relationship or marriage and then all of a sudden I got a cramp in my hamstring. That's why I'm acting weird, but like a Charlie horse.
Well, I get that too, that people get comfortable. And I think that's really where a lot of it stems from when they like fall off the wagon, you know, with their fitness routine or their diet or, you know, just eating healthier, is that they're comfortable and they're like, oh, well, I can be fully myself around this person. And so, you know, I can come from a place of a more chilled, relaxed version of myself. But you can do both of those things. I think where people they let themselves go is when they just get so comfortable that they're like, you know, they're going to love me no matter what, which like you just said, I know that that's true. Yeah. You've told me that multiple times. But for myself and for you, I want to be the healthiest, best version that I can be. Has there been times where I have not, you know, gone to my fitness classes as much as I do now or eaten the way that I do now? Absolutely. Right. You know, and
and have I ever judged you for it?
No.
Not once, right?
Right. So. Well, and that's how it has to be. Like, because like you said, you can't like force it onto somebody. And even though I just talked about you getting supplements and things for me, I never feel like you're forcing me to take them, because it's not like you're not like, here, take this fat burner, you know? Like you're like, here's some vitamin D so that you don't feel like you need to take a nap all the time. I'm like, okay, I like that, you know, or like fish oil because this will help with this. Like, it's not, you know, you pushing me to be like, hey, did you go to your Pilates class today? Like, you're looking a little tubby. Like, you're never anywhere close to that. And it should never be anywhere close to that. But I'm just saying that I do understand that it's probably this conflict, right? With, well, I'm comfortable with this person and they're going to love me no matter what. They told me that. and still wanting to be the healthiest version of yourself, because you can have both. Like there are plenty of times where I don't have any makeup on and, I just threw my hair up and, you still love me.
Right.
But
you also dress up and make yourself look good and put on makeup for me as well, right? So it's like, because it's, there's acceptance, but there's also trying. And they both need to go together, right? It's like, just like we talked about with the romance side of it, is that, as a guy, I'm not going to suddenly just drop like, oh, she just accepts me now. I don't need to like impress her by doing nice things for her, like being romantic, because it's just a given now. I mean, we're going to have sex, we're going to do whatever. Like, no, if I have that cavalier attitude, it may be true that you're going to love me either way, but it's not very nice.
Right.
It's very insulting to you to take advantage. It's to give a biblical reference, even though we're not religious, is that there's a point, and I think I forget exactly where it is, but
they're going to come for us.
But Paul says, because they talk about grace abounding. So, and he says this idea that, like, should we sin all the more so that grace can abound the more, right? In response to the idea that your sins are all forgiven, no matter how much sin.
So you just
keep sin more. Yeah. So it's like, no, that's not the point. The point, like, if you have, forgiveness, 100% forgiveness, you don't like
take advantage of it.
Exactly. And so it's the same thing. It's like, if your partner loves you no matter what you look like or whatever, you don't take advantage of that. I'm like, okay, well then I can just eat Oreos and do whatever I want to do, because it's that might be true, but it's disrespectful.
Well, and the reality too is, and as somebody that has my comfy days where, I don't get all dolled up, and maybe I do want to sit on the couch and not go to one of my fitness classes and eat a cookie.
Right.
Like, you can have the balance. It has to be balanced. But also, like, you think that if I got stuck in those days where I just sat on the couch and didn't really get myself ready and just ate junk food, and I kept doing that, yes, it feels comfortable.
Right.
And yes, I feel like a raw version of myself in a way.
Right.
But I also know that the way that you feel about yourself when you pour into your own cup, when you take the time to get ready, when you take the time to go to a fitness class or go to the gym and move your body, when you eat a healthy meal versus a junk food meal, that you can physically feel the difference that those things make.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so really, everything that we're talking about today has to come from a place of you doing it for you.
Right.
Because even if you're doing it for your husband, you have to do it for yourself.
First, exactly. Yeah.
First,
yeah,
yes.
Exactly.
Like you said, like that's the foundation. Because you know what just putting on some mascara on a day where you're like, I really don't want to do this. I really don't even want to get ready. I don't want to put makeup on. I don't want to go out of the house.
Yeah.
But you take even if it's a little bit of time to like put on some mascara and a cute outfit.
Right.
You know how much better you feel after you've done that.
Yeah, I know. I just feel I'm like, oh, finally I can be myself. Put on some panties, I'm just like,
oh my God. You know how, not you personally, women know how much better they feel.
Yeah.
And when you feel better about yourself like that, you have this confidence that's even more attractive to your partner.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so that's why it has to start with you.
Right.
Because when you pour into your own cup and give yourself that confidence, that good feeling, that healthy energy, then that transmutes to your partner.
Exactly.
By the way that you're responding to them, by the confidence that you have that exudes. Yeah. And so your partner's even more attracted to you, because a lot of people too who have gotten comfortable.
Yeah. Yeah.
They probably talk about missing, or lacking that excitement in their relationship, that sexual attraction that they used to have. But when you work on yourself throughout the relationship, especially like physically and mentally and like in regards to your health, then you kind of create this new dynamic in your relationship, and you feel more youthful, and you feel like you did when you were younger and pursuing each other. And your partner appreciates looking at, all the ways that your body's changing because you're going to the gym, or appreciates the new outfit or hairstyle that you're trying, and you know, all those different things. So, you know, if you're also in this kind of like things have been kind of like the same or stale or whatever, because I mean, okay, let's look at this. When men or women, I guess too, cheat, a lot of them start going to the gym and they're looking better, and their partner's like kind of still doing the same thing, like not catching up. And then they're like, oh, well, it's fine. But then the person ends up cheating. It's because they've put all this effort into themselves. They feel so good about themselves that now they want to go share it with the world.